Hello, this is my first impressions of the Icebox Changes. We're going to start off with B main first, as I think it's probably the biggest change. Very, very closely followed by the mid change, by the mid window. But this change is generally, I think, defense-sided. The reason why is that there's a couple of reasons, and this reason is that, so this is the first one, is that this angle is a bit harder now because there's an angle here and there's an angle here, so it's a double angle, a high-low. Sort of natural high-low. And then we have this sort of thing as well. So if you don't have pressure B early on attack, then any player can make this jump, and they can hold this quite well. Obviously, it's not like the perfect angle. It just means that like there's more angles for you to watch when you're re-clearing into B. So it means that it can be really insane for this player to be up here to mix up their angles, and just makes it that much harder to re-clear into B. Defense did kind of lose like the ability to walk up here though. I think it's a bit harder with, you know, less, there's just more space here, and generally that makes it harder when there's more players pushing you. When there's a lot more space, you have a lot less terrain to work with, and therefore it's a lot easier for you to die. So I think generally like it's got a bit harder for maybe you to push up when there's actually pressure here. But when there's no pressure here, I think it's a lot easier for you to like kind of take space on top of the container and do that kind of stuff. And that's kind of it for like B main. Like this angles now actually exists for both angles, so it's actually really strong to sit up here on the like a jet or something, or a raise. So yeah, I think it's pretty good. Defense sided sort of B main change. Another B main, or like B change for that sort of defense sided is this. So it cuts off one of the choke points completely. So there's only one choke point now going into B. That means that it's just a lot easier to defend B. There's only one choke point that exists. There's this one up here as well, like that can obviously walk up here and go kitchen. The reason why you probably shouldn't do this that much is because rotators will end up fighting you first before you actually get into B. So you're actually fighting a lot more people to get into B if you go this way. Unless obviously like you're lurking or like doing it fairly quietly, then you won't actually run into anyone. But yeah, generally this is like, I think these changes are quite interesting. The way they've kind of like, I think, tried to like push Sage a bit out the Icebox meta in some ways, because the easiest way to do that would have been to just change the B site, right, or to change the sites in some way to make them a bit easier to plant in, so therefore Sage would have less value when she's walling and planting. But instead what they've done, I think, is they've made it harder to get into B, so then you might need another set of flashes, or you might need another initiator, etc., to kind of get through these choke points now, or to get through this area now. Which I'm not sure really translate very well into ranked, but in like tournament play, competitive play, pro play, whatever you want to call it. I think there's a chance that Sage might see a tiny bit less play, not only because Harbor exists now, but also because it's a bit harder to get into the sites. So I can see like Sage being replaced by an initiator in some ways. I don't think it's like I don't think it materialized that way. I don't think Sage will actually get replaced fully. But I think it could do. Like, there's a chance, like, especially if there's a couple more changes being done, then I could definitely see it. Next, we're going to mid. So on mid, there's this new container. And what it does, it just stops any players that want to sit on top of it to stop, like, a rotation from B to A flank. They can't sit on it anymore. But that is, like, not the biggest change. The biggest change is this one, where they can't see, people on top of this can't see through into mid anymore. And there's no fights that can be taken from on top of this onto mid. It just in general cleans up mid for defense, so they don't have to worry about as many angles anymore. So as you can see, this is much cleaner, nicer looking angle now. There's nothing to worry about up here. No one on top of this thing. No one in the distance over here. I can just look here, and that's it. It's a lot cleaner, a lot easier for defense. Next, go to the window. So the window is interesting because I think it's fairly equal change. So I think that it's pretty equal in the sense that you can watch this now on defense, and I think that it's a lot harder for them to actually walk up the tube. But if they ever get into like this type of position where they don't have to worry about the ramp anymore, they only have to look here, and they now have access to basically shooting players in the back here, or shooting players in a favorable angle over here, because this angle kind of sucks, like looking into the window from here. So this angle is quite good. I really like this angle. You're also likely as well, if your teammates are rotating, or if your teammates are going A and the enemy's rotating from B to A like this, you're shooting them in the back. So you're actually having like, this is actually like a really crazy good lurk now. It used to be really good anyway, to like lurk through kitchen and kind of get an angle over here. But I think it just gives the lurk a bit more options. But at the same time, giving them more options sometimes also means that they can be caught earlier in the lurk. So it actually rewards you being smart with when you cross through the window, and actually like make your lurk happen. It actually like rewards you a tiny bit. No, like you get like, sorry, you don't get rewarded more. Well, you can get rewarded more. But what I mean is that it's a lot harder to get your reward because the defense actually have a way to see you first, or a way to see you faster, which is pretty cool. I think it's pretty double-sided change. And that's going to be actually for the changes, because on A, it's completely unchanged. So I do want to talk a tiny bit about that, where I think A, honestly, isn't that much of a problematic site anyway. But I do, because I think it's a very fun site to attack, to be honest. I really enjoy attacking A whenever I do attack A, and I think they probably realised that this was honestly a really fun site. But I think the problem with it, with not changing A, and not changing B site, like they completely untouched the sites. So to me, it means that Sage is going to be exactly the same as it used to be. And to an extent, the problem of Icebox is probably going to be exactly the same as it used to be. Just with a lot of the minor changes that kind of surrounded the big problem. Which might actually make the big problem less of a problem, to be fair. For instance, like, now that this, like, mid is a lot easier to defend, it's going to be a lot harder for A to actually get attacked properly, because you're basically just attacking through this choke point. And it's going to be a lot harder for them to get some mid pressure, because of the way that now this is set up. That defenders have a lot less to worry about. And just have, like, this additional window to stop any, like, deep lurkers. And now, obviously, B, there's one less choke point to worry about when they come through mid. And generally, this is more favoured for you. You have a high-low over here that you can use at the initial part of the round. So I do think, generally, like, it's harder to get onto sites. But once the site has been reached, it's exactly the same as old Icebox. So I'm not sure exactly how good that is. But I do think the change is in the right direction, at least. And I think just need some time to see how it kind of plays out. But generally, I do like the changes. I just think they may have needed to be a bit harsher on Sage's viability on this map, because she seems to be still the best choice to have to plant the bomb. But obviously, I think that changes a bit more in competitive. I think in competitive, they're going to be a lot more able to play other things. But I think in ranked, it's going to be the same old thing, same old story with Sage. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next one.